Hello everyone. We are in the kitchen today because I am making cookies. I'm going to be making banana chocolate chip protein cookies. I like to mill my flour myself, so this is my flour mill. Also, I ran out of chocolate chips, so I have half chocolate chunks and half salted caramel chips. So salted caramel chocolate banana protein cookies. Let's go. I measured everything out already. These are soft white wheat berries, which are good for cookies or cakes, muffins, cupcakes, and hard white wheat is what you would use for like bread. Yeah, let's start. I'm gonna throw everything into this hopper and it's going to give me some really good flour to use, fresh. And if you have never tasted anything made with fresh flour, I highly recommend you do somewhere, wherever you can find freshly milled flour. It is so good. There's actual depth of flavor and it's kind of nutty and it is just amazing. And I can never go back. So let's do it. Beautiful. And while this thing is out, I'm going to be milling some hard white wheat berries because I want to make a sourdough starter so bad. And to do that, I need flour. And I guess hard white wheat berries are the best for a sourdough starter compared to the white wheat berries. So I'm just going to mill up some of the hard white wheat. And then after I make the cookies, I will walk you through a sourdough starter, I guess. I'm gonna mill like 200 grams, I think, because I'm gonna have to feed the starter and I don't wanna have to mill flour every single day. So I'm just gonna mill all of this. I'm not an expert baker, but I would like to remind you that I went to culinary school and I did take one baking and pastry class. So I somewhat know what I'm doing, but I'm still not perfect at it. I do enjoy baking though. I think it is fun. And I feel like sometimes I get this baking bug in me, but it's not all the time. Sometimes it's a pain, but I do love baked goods so much. So I would like to bake a little bit more. I'm gonna start with putting the butter and the sugar together and creaming them. Also, I didn't have enough butter, so I added some avocado oil and butter to whatever the gram amount was. So let's hope that works. Now I'm gonna add in an egg and 2 bananas that are very ripe. Lovely. And then I'm going to add in the flour and the protein powder and baking powder. This kind of looks a little too sticky, so I'm gonna add in a little bit more flour. I'm actually gonna use some of the hard white wheat because I don't feel like milling more flour, but it should work just fine. Alrighty, I think this looks a little bit better. I'm gonna add the chips and just fold them in. I'm gonna roll the cookies into balls and place them on the sheet. And then I'm going to put them in the fridge for like 30 minutes so they kind of firm up a bit. And then I'm gonna bake them from there. While those cookies are chilling in the fridge, I'm gonna make the sourdough starter. I'm gonna add 50 grams of water, and then I'm gonna add 50 grams of flour. Then I'm gonna mix it really well. Okay, I guess that looks right. It's not like soupy, but it's not super stiff. All right, I think I'm gonna work with that. So I'm gonna cover this loosely and let it sit for a day. All right, I added just a splash of more water because I thought maybe it was a bit too thick. Now it looks like this, so still not soupy, but still kind of smushy. And I'm just gonna cover it with this lid, but I'm not gonna screw it on super tight. I'm just gonna kind of set it on there, and then we'll check back tomorrow and see how it's doing. This is after 30 minutes in the fridge. You can see that they are a little bit more firm. And now I'm gonna pop them into the oven and bake them for like, I don't know, 10 minutes-ish, maybe more, I don't know. The cookies are done. They look so good. I left them in there for 20 minutes, and I'm gonna try one right now. They are still soft, which are my favorite types of cookies. I love soft cookies. I'm gonna give these a 7.5 out of 10. They're really good. They're great. They're not chalky because of the protein powder, which is good. I still think I could do better, but they're really delicious and I'm probably gonna eat them all. So Yay. I will leave the original recipe in the description and then also my adaptation of the recipe to make them into like protein cookies if you want to make them yourself. Also remember that I used like half a stick of butter and a little bit of avocado oil. So I think that's maybe why they are super soft and why I needed a little bit more flour when I was making my batter. Other than that, they are still really good. And they have a slight hint of banana, which I like. So I think I'm gonna start a new spin today. I am gonna be spinning up this right here. It's blue and brown, which are some of my favorite colors to spin. This is from Greenwood, which is a local company to Colorado, and it's hand dyed. The colorway is Sandpiper, and it's 80% BFL superwash and 20% nylon. It does say that it's sock roving, so I guess this would be good for making socks. I don't know. I've never made socks. I'm gonna prepare this fiber right now by splitting it and then pre-drafting everything. That's pretty much my go-to when I am prepping fiber. Here it is all unwound. I'm always shocked at how much there is when you unbraid it. I'm gonna find the middle and I'm going to split it in half. I'm gonna set one half of this aside and I'm just gonna be working with this half right here. I'm again gonna find the middle. I'm also going to split this one. There we go. Now I have 4 pieces of roving and I'm gonna start with one of them. I'm gonna find the middle of it and split it apart lengthwise. And I'm gonna do that one more time. And then I think I'm gonna do it again. So I have 6 pieces of roving. It didn't look like the second piece needed to be split. So sometimes it can be 6 and sometimes it can be 8. Just depends on how thick the roving is. I'm gonna take one piece and I'm just going to lightly pull on it and just pre-draft it before I get it on the wheel. So now it's about twice as long and this piece is good to go. So I'm going to put it into a container and I'm gonna do that to all of this and then I will be ready to spin. All right, I've made a fresh cup of tea and I have all of my fiber prepped and now I am gonna start spinning it. I'm so excited to see how this is gonna turn out. Let's begin. All right, I'm about to feed the sourdough starter. This is what it looks like so far. It hasn't really grown much. Not really sure what's going on. It smells good. So I'm gonna add 50 grams of flour and 50 grams of water. And I'm gonna stir it up really well. This is what it looks like now. I'm going to loosely put the lid back on there and set it back over here where I will set up a time lapse so you can see what's going on and watch it grow a little bit. Should be fun. I hope it grows. Wish me luck. Good morning, everyone. My boyfriend kept me out way too late last night. I am exhausted, but we are going to continue spinning this today. I think it's looking so beautiful. I'm loving how the colors are spinning up. I kind of alternated the colors because some strands were primarily brown, some were primarily white, and some had a mixture. So I tried to like alternate those so I didn't have just like pools of the same color. But so far, I'm really liking how it's turning out. So let's start spinning. So I decided to randomly dye some Aida cloth. I was going through my cross stitch patterns, thinking about what I want to start next, and I found one, but I think it would look really good on a like antique brown tan Aida cloth. So that's my goal. I have Aida cloth right here that I soaked in soda ash fixer and water, and all I have to do is pour on the dye now. So I'm going to be using shiitake mushroom, and I'm just doing like a little bit over half cup of water, and I'm going to probably do not even a quarter of a teaspoon of dye in there. I want it to be pretty light. I'm going to start with a tiny amount, maybe a little bit more. I'm gonna try this out and see what happens. So I'm going to just kind of maybe do a light crinkle. It's kind of already there naturally. So I might just leave it like that and pour it on. So this is what it looks like. I'm gonna cover it in plastic and I'm gonna check it before I go to bed and see how it looks. If I think it needs more time, then I might just rinse it out in the morning. So we'll see. It's also time to feed the sourdough starter. So it's day 3. This is what it looks like. It's grown definitely like double in size. So today I'm going to discard most of it. So I have a new jar here. You can save the discard usually, but since we are making this from scratch, the actual culture in there isn't mature. So I don't think you really want to use it quite yet. So I'm just gonna get rid of it until I have a mature culture, and then I will save the discard for other recipes and such. As for the smell, it kind of smells like beer. I wouldn't say it's bad smelling at all, but it just kind of smells like a really strong, hoppy, yeasty beer. Now I'm gonna add the 50 grams of flour and the 50 grams of water and mix it up really well. That's what it's looking like. And I'm gonna put it on a time lapse. This is how the fabric turned out. That shiitake mushroom dye is very cool, like cool toned, and I definitely need to get some like warmer toned browns. I like it, but it looks almost grayish in person, or like a purpley brown. I don't really know how to describe this color. It will do for what I need it for, but for the future, I definitely need to get a different brown. I would like to be able to do like a lighter tan color, and this is not light tan. I don't know if you can kind of see on the edges. It's almost like it's a red, which I know is a warm color, but like red, cool toned brown, if that makes sense. But I like it overall. I think it's okay, and it will be just fine for what I'm gonna use it for. So it's time to feed the sourdough starter. Here's what it looks like. It got really high up, and then this morning it was back down here. Still smells, well, it smells a little funky, but it also smells like beer still. So I'm gonna do the same thing I did yesterday, put 50 grams of this starter in here, add 50 grams of flour, and I'm gonna have to mill more flour, lovely, and then add 50 grams of water. Stir, put the lid back on, and then let it hang out for a day. Hello everyone, it is like 9 p.m. and I have not fed my starter yet. It actually didn't really do much. It just kind of has stayed at the same size. I don't really know why, but I think I'm just gonna feed it and hopefully it reawakens or does whatever it's supposed to do. So I'm gonna do the same thing, 50 grams starter, 50 grams of flour, and 50 grams of water, and then give it a good stir, and then we'll see what it's looking like tomorrow. Okay, so I just stopped by the garden center and I got some seeds that I wanted to show you, and I got some live plants, which I really wasn't planning on doing, but they were there, so I got some. For the seeds, I got a super sugar snap pea, a sugar daddy snap pea, and a sugar magnolia snap pea, which are purple. So fun. And then I also got shelling peas, or English peas, I guess you would call them. And this variety is called Frosty. frosty pea, and it says very early shelling pea. I also got some crisp head lettuce. This is Great Lakes 118. My boyfriend really likes iceberg lettuce, I guess. So I'm gonna be growing like a variety of lettuce because he loves salads, and I feel like I will grow lettuce and then I just like never touch them. I think I grow them because they're some of the earlier crops and it's fun to watch them grow, but then I never really do anything with them. So I'm gonna continue to grow some lettuce this year, but I'm actually going to harvest it this time and hand it over to my boyfriend so he can eat it all. And then I got some nasturtium seeds. I got Alaska variegated, which has variegated leaves, and they're like red, orange, creamy colored, and purple emperor, which are like pinks, purples, and they look so pretty. I can't wait to see what these look like. And as for plants, I got 2 tomatoes, which are San Marzano, which is a paste tomato, really good for making sauce, and Cherokee purple, which is a slicing tomato, also one of my favorite tomatoes I've grown in the past, so excited to see what comes from here. I got chives because I don't think my chives made it this year. This will be maybe my 3rd or 4th year of having the same chives. They were growing a little bit and then I think they got fried and died, so I got some more chives. And I got some chamomile. Even though I'm growing it right out there, I just want more, so I got this little one. And I got more pansies. These were so stunning. I was like, I cannot leave the store without buying these. Oh my gosh, look how beautiful that is. Oh, they're so pretty. Wow. And that is all that I bought. These plants need to be acclimated. I can't just shove them out there, and it's a little too early for the tomatoes to go out. So I actually think I'm gonna put them under my little row cover out there, and I think that'll help them get a little bit more acclimated and not fry to death. I'm actually gonna take you out on the balcony right now so you can see what's happening out there and the progress of the seeds I started a couple weeks ago. Here are the chamomile. They are getting their true leaves, which is very exciting. We have 2 rows of parsley, oregano, these tiny little ones growing in, and this is all sweet basil. These are my pansies. I do have a new flower coming in, anemone, which has been struggling a little bit, but this one is blooming, and I have another one right here that is hopefully going to bloom as well. This one looks a little crispy. I don't really know what's going on there. These are more pansies I just watered, and I haven't seen any new blooms. I might have to move them to a shadier spot, I think, but they're still alive, so that's good. Sunstars looking so beautiful. Like, wow, those are the most perfect flowers I've ever seen. And these are grape hyacinths, and I think they're starting to grow, at least I thought they were. Well, I don't know. They're growing, but I'm not sure if I'm going to get any blooms. I don't know. That is what's happening out here. The birds are loving their bird feeder. I will show you some clips of the birds right now. There's actually this one clip of a male house finch feeding its mate, and I looked it up. I guess they do that to strengthen the bond they have between them, but also the male is showing the female that it can indeed feed the future kids. So sweet. Oh my gosh, I felt like I was witnessing a cute little bird date. It was so cute. I just love watching these birds. It's mostly just house finches. It's like a pair of house finches. I'm not sure if they're the same birds or if it's multiple couples, but I love them. They've also eaten like all of the black sunflower seeds out there, so I had to buy some more bird seed that has way more black sunflower seeds in it, and I hope they will like it. I've also put a little water bowl thingy out there, and they've been loving drinking from that. So that's so sweet. That's the update with the bird feeder, and I think that's it for this week's video. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys next week. Bye.